I love that new gadget that tells you it's recording. No more sneaking those recordings on me, Sherry. Hi, gang. My name's Tracy Castor. I am a leader with Epicure in Gilbert, Arizona, though I am a longtime Epicure lover because I'm Canadian born and raised. Really thrilled to be part of bringing you this summer freezer meals. If you haven't seen the information, or if you're jumping on without too much knowledge, if you're a customer, reach out to your consultant. If you are a consultant, reach out to your upline or check the posts in our Team Rise or Nicholson Global groups. But essentially, Sherry and I created a freezer meal bundle using 4 products. We want to keep the price point fairly reasonable. So the products that would have been ordered are the Smokin barbecue. Get 2 of them. 2 of them or 3 of them, Sherry? Now I'm debating. 3 of them, sorry, 3 of them. The Montreal steak seasoning, which is a favorite in this house. The teriyaki seasoning, and the Tuscan chicken burger. So together we've curated this bundle of 10 recipes that can really get put together in your freezer ahead of time and have you ready to go for when people will drop in your house, because yes, this summer is the summer that people are going to come back together, and we're really excited. And what better way to celebrate than having some extra meals in your freezer? So that's super exciting. What we're going to be doing tonight, we're looking at maybe only about 15 minutes, and we're really just going to go through. Oh, Sherry, one of your items isn't muted.
Are we good now?
No, I still hear you. Twice. I don't hear you now, so that's probably a good sign. Awesome. So we are going to go through 3 recipes in total. 1 because it's a little bit more complex. 1 just to show you some variation, and then 1 of the burgers just to talk about how that can go. Just to give you an idea, you guys don't need to watch us make our freezer meals for 40 minutes, but it'll give you a good flavor for it. So I think Sherry's going to lead us off by walking us through 1 of the recipes.
All right, so I'm just gonna have to turn this down. We got some technical difficulties here, and I'm not sure which one is gonna pick up on me speaking, so hold on 1 second here. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going to gallery view. Can you guys see me on camera yet? No, right? All right, here I am. I'm here. Okay, so I've got myself here where you can see my hands. That's just my hands, and then I'm gonna talk to you guys up here. So in freezer meals, one of the complicated things is sometimes there's recipes that have more than 1 bed. So I really wanted to kind of show you guys how that will work, because we've got a recipe that I'm going to put together right now. And I've got extra chicken here because we're going to make a double in a few minutes after. But sometimes you want to marinate it, but also you want some sauce left over for what you're going to use it for when you're grilling. So there's like a marinade sauce, and then there's a grilling sauce. Now, so this one is, and I happen to already have a half pack of Smokin barbecue seasoning already. But if I didn't, I would just pour this out and measure so I knew exactly how much. And then you can see I cut this upside down because it's really easy, and that's how this was stored, to just fold the corners and snap on a little chip clip or something to hold it in place so that when you put it away, you can store it upright and know which one it is. But if I'm not storing it, if I'm only using both halves at once, like if I was doing the full freezer meal, all 10 tonight, I would use the whole thing. So that wouldn't be a problem. But if you're using half, that's what you do. You measure out half of the ingredients, pour half back in, and store the remainder. So I'm using the Smokin maple chicken recipe, which is kind of a take on, if you've heard of the spicy maple chicken recipe. So we decided to use the Smokin barbecue sauce, which is absolutely delicious. So when you're doing a sauce, and this one in particular, hold on, I need my 4-cup bowl over here. This one in particular, I would normally mix the sauce in the bag and squish it all up, but because I'm retaining some of the sauce, I want to put this one into my 4-cup bowl. Now I need, so that's half a package. Now I need 2 tablespoons of oil.
Sherry.
And I've got to go to my fridge because I think my husband put my maple syrup away. 2 tablespoons of oil. And then I need a 1/4 cup of maple syrup, and that is farm fresh maple syrup. And it's a dead soldier here. We're saying just enough for tonight. So I'm not even going to measure it. And that's all that's needed for this. Now, when you're making this directly to the grill, you would season half of this sauce as a marinade, and then half would be retained so that when you're doing your final 2 minutes on the grill, you have a little bit of like a barbecue sauce to put on the chicken. But instead, because I need to freeze this is a freezer meal, I'm gonna put my chicken in a bag, and I could have done that head, but we have a bunch here, so I'm gonna do, and I fillet these. These are already portioned out for me, so anybody who's looking for like epic life or proper portioning, just fillet your chicken breasts. If they're too big, check them and see if they're the right size. So I've got
Sherry, I don't know
my chicken now in a bag,
we can do, but we're
and I
still
stirred the ingredients of the sauce together. And I'm gonna pour half of that into my large Ziploc bag. And I'm gonna retain the other half, and I'll show you what we'll do with that in a second. But now you can see I put my Ziploc bag in a bowl. The reason being that these get sloppy, and the last thing you want to do is dump your bag on the floor or on the counter, because then you've got a bigger mess. Then I take it out of the bowl, and I squish out as much as all I can get of the air out, and then just massage your chicken. So you just want to make sure that that is well coated with the seasoning and the mixture that you did. Just like so. And then squish it so it lays flat. Like so. Okay? So you can see I squished it all out. It's nice laying flat. Now what do we do with the sauce? I grab a smaller Ziploc bag. So I've got a medium here. And I'm going to take the remainder of the sauce with my prep bowl, and hopefully I can do this without spilling too much. And I'm going to pour that into my medium bag. The 3-in-1 spatula is super handy for this job. Use a spatula, a sauté spoon, anything you got. And we just want to squish this into the bag. And then when it comes time to grill, you will have this sauce already made. You don't have to make it again. So that is the Smokin maple chicken. And what I would do now, because I want to keep these two together, because now I have sauce in one bag, chicken in the other, that's bags A and B. I'm going to freeze those together. And if I want to put them in another Ziploc bag, which I may use, then I know they're together, or I label them both as Smokin Maple A, Smokin Maple B, or Smokin Maple 1 of 2, Smokin Maple 2 of 2. And that way you can find them in your freezer as well. The reason I squished all the air and laid it flat is it will freeze easier, but it will also defrost easier for you. So when you're taking it back out of your freezer the night before you're going to cook it, easier to defrost. You don't have to wait a long time for that meat to be ready. All right, Tracy, over to you for your first one.
Absolutely. Well, you say my first one, but I've been doing other ones while you're talking. So while you were talking, I also did my smoking maple chicken. And I want to just check in. So if in the chat you have questions, I'm going to give you an opportunity to put them in the chat, because some people were saying, Sherry, that it was a bit echoey when you were talking. That's okay. It is what it is. So here's my bag 1 of my smoking maple chicken. My bag 2 is just still in the bowl. I haven't moved it over yet, but that's okay. So it's here and good to go. It's labeled same as Sherry. I'm going to lay it flat just like this in the freezer and put it out. Can everybody hear me okay? Maybe you can just put in the chat the people who are on. Make sure we're all good now. And I did start doing the teriyaki pork chops while Sherry was talking. Oh, awesome. That's great. Thanks for telling me, Amy. Not one of the ones I'm demoing, but I actually bought everything for all 10 meals because I thought if I'm in the mess, I might as well make them for my family as well. I have anyone who's never seen one of my demos, I have eaters. I call my boys meatitarians. So having these in the freezer will be a godsend. So I happen to be just finishing the teriyaki pork chops right there. But the one I'm going to do is the pork tenderloin. So I've got, and I picked up these little gadgets, by the way, not that you need these, but they're kind of fun on Amazon. They were super inexpensive. I think I got 4 of them for $6, and it holds my bag open. And you can use bowls, like Sherry has, but these are kind of cool. And one tip I have that I got from another leader is to fold the top over. Can you see how I've done that? So that you're not getting goop in the little parts of the Ziploc that go together. We're keeping that nice and tidy. And so in here I have 2 pork tenderloins, good to go, never been frozen before. And that's something to remember too. When you're doing a freezer meal, you should always be starting with fresh meat. That sounds kind of obvious, but maybe not to everybody. Ideally, you should never be thawing meat, doing something with it and refreezing it. Should really be starting from fresh meat. So the one I've got here is the pork tenderloin. This little guy, a favorite in my house. And I'll be honest with you, tonight, this isn't gonna go in the freezer. My husband just lit the barbecue and he's gonna come take this off my hands in a few minutes because we didn't happen to have anything else out for the kiddos tonight. So 2 pork tenderloins, 1 pack of the sauce, just like Sherry mentioned. I'm always in the habit of cutting the bottom off the packages as well because Epicure happens to print the instructions really close to the top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dump the whole package in. Then it's calling for a 1/4 cup of oil. We say olive, but we also in my house use avocado oil a lot. So it's really about preference. I don't find avocado oil has a strong taste, but what we like about it, especially if you're going to be grilling over a flame grill, something not indirect heat, but over the real flame part, is that avocado oil has a higher smoke point. So it's not gonna burn as quick. You ever put meat on the grill and sort of watch it burst into flames a little bit? That's ideally not really what you want. So avocado oil has a much higher flash point than olive oil. That's why we use it almost exclusively, to be honest. So 1/4 cup of avocado oil or olive if that's your jam. There's not a wrong answer there. I just prefer the avocado. And 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And the real reason for that, apple cider vinegar just gives things the acidity. It needs to help break the meat down and make it tender. If you haven't used apple cider vinegar before, I use the spices I used are the Smokin barbecue package right here. Whole package straight in this one, which is a super simple guide. So if you've not used apple cider vinegar before, you always want to shake it. I shook mine already, but normally when you tip it over, there's a lot of brown in the bottom because it's a real unpasteurized product. And because of that, there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Sediment that sits on the bottom. So just 2 tablespoons of this. Somewhere here, I have my little Epicure Wonder Spoon. And I'm just gonna plunk these in here, my 2 tablespoons, and then I'm gonna mix it in here. If you're the type of person who likes perfection, you're more than welcome to mix the oil, the apple cider vinegar and the seasoning in the bag first, or even in a bowl if that's your jam. But honestly, I'm not that person. I'm a get things done person. I'm also a less dishes person. So I am gonna seal it right the way it is with a little bit of air in because I'm gonna open it and seal it again. And I'm just gonna really go to town. This is a fun thing, by the way, to get your kids involved in. What kid doesn't wanna do this? It's super fun. And you can see how quickly that comes together. Do you see it's not really separated anymore? I've got a beautiful sauce over the entire pork tenderloin. If I were putting this in the freezer, by the way, I would have already labeled this. I print all mine. When I have freezer meals in the freezer, I print them. I set it beside, wherever my recipes are. And then I jot on the cover what day I froze them all. And as I bring them out, I tick them off. That way I know exactly what's in my freezer, what's not in my freezer. But see how quickly these went together. And I'm just gonna set these to one side because my husband's gonna be coming in to get them for a minute for the grill. The last thing I'll say with pork, it's not like it's chicken. So with pork, you really want it not freezing cold when you put it on the barbecue. Definitely the thaw overnight's important, but actually, honestly, you want to get it out of the fridge a good 15 or 20 minutes before you put it on the barbecue. To let it come up to room temperature, it'll help it cook much more evenly. And with pork, that's completely safe. Not the same with chicken, but pork or steak, that's totally fine. So there is our pork tenderloin ready to go. Now, I believe Sherry and I are both going to do the chicken burgers because we're going to do them 2 different ways. You marinated your chicken breast last night. Yeah, it's perfect. I love marinating a bunch of things, often on Sundays, to be honest. I shop at Costco, which I know sounds crazy because it's the crazy people day at Costco. I sort of like it. I try to see how many people I can make smile at Costco. I come home and I open all the meat and I will do as much of this sort of stuff as I can, whether I'm eating it the next day or the following day or freezing it. It's so much less work to make this mess all at once. So Sherry, are we moving
And
on?
I wanted to show too before we jumped on to the next item.
I think we're getting back feet.
I think we're getting back feet. Are we getting back feet again? I think you have to mute yourself in between.
Yeah, I don't think.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Can you guys hear me okay?
You were back feeding the whole time last time, Sherry. If you want, I'll talk.
Am I still back feeding?
Yeah, I'll talk through this and we can show yours. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Sure.
Just because it's quite back feeding when you talk, and I know it's the two devices. It's the nature of the beast of freezer meals. So Sherry and I are both going to do the Mediterranean chicken burgers. That's this guy in a couple of different ways. Now, first things first. This is ground turkey. And actually there was a typo in this recipe. It's been corrected, I believe, on the set that you can get from your consultant if you're a customer, or if you are the consultant, you can get in our groups right now. But it actually had a pound of ground beef, which was a typo by the person who formatted it for Sherry and I. So you could use ground chicken or ground turkey. Do you have chicken? Give me a thumbs up, Sherry. Turkey? Pork, you're doing pork. Ooh, yummers. So really, it's your burger. I have ground turkey because that's what I happen to find at the store. We're doing 2 tablespoons of the Tuscan chicken burger. Get that in mind. Oh, I'm almost at the end of my Tuscan chicken burger. And then it's calling for a couple of things. So it's calling for a 1/3 cup of feta and a 1/3 cup of sun-dried tomatoes. Now I decided I'm just gonna dump mine in. Sherry is doing, instead of the sun-dried tomatoes, because she has a kiddo that doesn't like that, she is doing spinach, correct? Give me a nod. Chopped spinach in hers. And she's already done this once and she knows it tastes amazing. So I have my 1/3 cup of chopped sun-dried tomatoes right here. And I'm gonna just drop that straight in. I'm gonna mix all this up in a second. I'm gonna use my same cup again, really trying to eliminate how many dishes I create. For approximately 1/3 cup, maybe that's a full 1/3 cup, but that's okay. It doesn't bother me. I happen to get the really small crumbles of feta. If you want feta smaller, you can get something like this guy versus this guy. I like mine fine. I know Sherry's are a little bigger. I'm gonna mix this away. Now let's talk a little bit. If you happen to own the burger press, and I know, don't hate me for even mentioning this because the burger press is out of stock right now, but I know there's thousands of people out there who have it. So I want to talk through a little bit. If you happen to own the burger press, this is a great use for the burger press. 2 reasons. You want your burgers to be consistent size always, because if they're not a consistent size, it's really tough there's Sherry doing a perfect demo of showing us how to use the burger press. If they're not a consistent size, they're not going to cook the same. So that's step number 1. And if you have kids like mine, someone will be complaining that someone's is bigger than the other. That's also a problem. But if you wanted and you have the burger press, you could also put the feta and the sun-dried tomato stuffed. So we know we have that option in the burger press to make a hollow out to put the stuffing in. You can have that as almost like a sun-dried tomato feta surprise in the burger, which is really fun. So there's mine all mixed up and good to go right there. I'm going to just do mine by hand since Sherry's using the press, because we can do it both ways. Knowing this is a pound, we're gonna make 4 1/4 pound burgers. We want them to be this close to the same size as possible. If you have a kitchen scale, not a bad time to use it, to be honest. I do have one, but it's not within my reach. And I'm just gonna make 4 of these. One quick way to do it when you have a pound and you wanna make 4 of something is to divide it in half by eyeball, and then divide it in half again, and then divvy any up that don't look the right size, which is what I'm doing right now. Move my bowl out of the way. And if you use the burger press, so pork, it works beautifully as Sherry is demonstrating, but if you use the burger press with turkey or chicken, you are gonna want some pieces of wax paper in between on the top, because turkey and chicken are sticky. They're a wetter meat. Am I allowed to say that word? Sounds weird, but we know what I mean. They're a more moist meat. That's an even weirder word. Than the others, and I think it just will really stick. So we're getting these together. Mine, how are yours coming, Sherry? They looking good? These look yummy. Can't wait to have these actually. This will be a weekend, this coming weekend, I think. So there's mine. I don't have my sheet pan out yet. but there's my 4. Good to go. That guy's a little smaller. I'm gonna pull a piece off this one and add it on this one. It's the joy of being in your own kitchen, is you can just do that. So there's the 4. Now what Sherry is demonstrating is really important. Imagine, yeah, there we go. Say something, Sherry, even though it's back feed, I'll keep talking after.
So I use the sheet pan and liner. And this way I can flash freeze them. And hopefully I didn't lose that. And then once they're flash frozen, I can pop them in a bag.
Yes, exactly. So that's why we use the liner, maybe, and depends a little on your freezer. So this is a great place, by the way, for the quarter sheet pan, because it fits in most freezers. A full sheet pan may not fit in your freezer. So not only do you want to make sure they're really hard, but even when they're done and you pop them off, I strongly recommend wax paper, little squares in between, just like this. It'll make pulling them apart a lot easier when it's time to cook them, because you can cook these from frozen. They'll come out beautiful, but also it will help if for some reason you only need 2 of them one night instead of all 4. So that was our Mediterranean chicken burgers. I think, Sherry, you're going to do the sirloin steak now.
I am.
Okay.
So
Okay.
hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
I have back to the bowl. I'm going to put the ingredients into my bag. Is that me going slower?
Help with their back feed.
So olive oil. 2 tablespoons. Now we've made this recipe,
and I prefer it with
soy sauce. So, but the recipe calls for balsamic. You can use whatever you want. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce is what I'm using. Or you can use balsamic. Then 1 tablespoon of mustard. I'm using sweet and spicy. And the Montreal steak. Save dishes. Use a cup. And then big steaks. Politics. Tracy, are you there?
Sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. So your steak's all done?
Did you say something?
Yeah, I was just asking if your steak was all done. I just finished my teriyaki. Sorry, there's somebody just running water in the kitchen. It's kind of loud with the speaker.
Steak is complete.
Awesome. And so if you have questions, the chat's open for a couple minutes, assuming Sherry's going to be able to stay on there. Certainly, if you have other questions, reach out to the consultant that invited you. Reach out to your upline if you are a consultant and you still have questions, or check it out on some of our internal groups. But this is a kit we can continue to buy and use all summer. So the fact that you might not have had the products today, maybe you're missing the teriyaki or the Montreal steak spice, no worries. These are things you can still do. This will be recorded, and if you need a copy of this, reach out to the person who invited you for the recording. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to look at our chat. Yeah, freezer paper as well as wax paper. I always happen to use wax, but you're right, both work just great.